Hurricane Irene is making its way towards the Carolina coast this hour with wind speeds of up to 75 miles per hour. And what it left behind in parts of Florida is a mess. Good morning. Welcome to Weather Center, sponsored by MCI WorldCom. I'm Mark Mancuso. We'll take a look at the weather where you are in just a minute. But first, let's go right to the forecast center with Bill Keneally with more on Irene. Good morning, Bill.
Okay, Mark, good morning to you, too. And we have the new advisory. The 8 o'clock advisory is in. And once again, the hurricane continues to chug northbound a little faster now at about 10 miles per hour, and top winds remaining at 75 miles per hour. So let's take a look at the map. Then I'll amend it as I need to here. There's your 5 o'clock advisory. But again, at 8 o'clock, let's see, the center points now are 31.2 north, 79.9 west. So it's gone, what's that, 3/10 of a degree north, and basically going due north now. And as said, moving north at 10 miles per hour. So the 8 o'clock advisory, 31.2 north and 79.9 west. Actually a half a degree north, and the top wind still at 75 miles per hour, and the pressure estimated at 982 millibars. By the way, the Hurricane Center aircraft is in there now, and we should be getting a detailed look at what they are seeing very shortly. Hurricane warnings up, Savannah, Georgia, all the way to Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. Batten down, especially in North Carolina, looks like at the very least you'll get quite a glance, if not a direct hit, somewhere there around maybe Cape Fear, all the way out towards Hatteras. It's hard to say right now. Tropical storm warning south of Savannah, Georgia to St. Augustine. But the good news here, primarily an offshore flow as you get down towards the southern Georgia coast, as well as in St. Augustine. No longer the battering it took last night when St. Augustine Beach had winds gusting in excess of hurricane force for a little while. In addition, tropical storm warnings up around the north coast of North Carolina all the way to about Virginia Beach, but not including Virginia Beach, not just yet. Flood watches, the big concern here. Southeastern Virginia, the tidewater, and also most of eastern North Carolina, most of eastern South Carolina, too. And really, if you want to draw a line here, I'd say roughly east of Interstate 95, that's going to be the area most prone. And I do caution you, already flood warnings up in around the metropolitan areas of Myrtle Beach, as well as Wilmington in North Carolina. Here is our setup. The reason for the rainfall, there's a front focusing the rain, helping to lift that air, in addition to the hurricane pushing the flow onshore. So twofold process going on here, and there will be very excessive rainfall from here on out. And with that in mind, I want to talk now to Tim Harvey. And Tim, you are with the Pamlico County Emergency Management in and around New Bern, and I'm sure you guys are still reeling from Hurricane Floyd. What is your status at this time?
Well, right now, like you said, we are still reeling from Hurricane Floyd, and actually from Tropical Storm Dennis and Dennis 1 and Dennis 2 is what we call it, which we experienced the worst flooding we've had here in the county in over 65 years. And, of course, with Hurricane Floyd, we've had as many as 3 tornadoes and much of the same flooding we had with Dennis. And here we are just a short while later, and we've got Hurricane Irene. Right now, what we're looking at is, as of last night, the county went to a state of emergency at 6 o'clock. At 6:01, our Emergency Operations Center went to a partial activation. And early this morning, we went fully active in the Emergency Operations Center. We plan on opening our shelter here at 10 o'clock, and we're waiting. Right now, we're getting inundated with rain. All the outer rain bands, we're getting drenched pretty good, and we're waiting for the hurricane force winds. We expect them to come in right around 10 o'clock tonight. Tidal surge, talking with the National Weather Service out of Newport, we're looking at right around 5 feet. Now, back with Dennis 2, we had 8.5 feet, so it's not going to be as severe as it was with Dennis 2 or with Floyd. At least we're hoping not with Floyd. And we're expecting a rainfall of about 5+ inches. We are going to experience a lot of local flooding, and that's the reason we're opening our shelter early today to get the folks on the road and out of harm's way.
All right, Tim Harvey with the emergency management in the areas around Pamlico County, including suburban New Bern, North Carolina. Thank you very much, Tim. We'll be checking back with you periodically again. Tim is right there, right along the Neuse River, an area that was subjected to just an inundating flood back with Hurricane Floyd. I want to show you some video we shot late yesterday from the Daytona Beach area. The good news in Daytona Beach, this was with more of an onshore flow, knocking over some of the lawn furniture and doing some damage, not a whole lot. Thankfully, it came on in on a tangent to the coast, but the good news today is we have now an offshore flow, so things will flush out. I think the bays and the intercoastal waterway should be in much better shape. Let's head now to the expert desk and Dr. Steve Lyons. And Steve, we have a hurricane that is still kind of plying the warm water of the Atlantic, but there's some upper winds that are helping to maybe, at least in time, deflect this thing off to the right.
Absolutely, Bill. We definitely expect it to turn to the northeast, and it may be gradual and it may rake the coasts of South and North Carolina, but most of the strong winds, as a matter of fact, all of the hurricane force winds currently are to the right of the system, on the ocean side of the system. So if it did rake the coast, it would have to actually make a landfall to get hurricane force winds. But there's a lot of other activity out there associated with it too. Let me show you the path, the projected path first. Now, it's going to start to accelerate off to the northeast, and of course the trick is whether or not it goes overland or stays just offshore. Right now we think it is going to go overland, probably somewhere between Cape Hatteras and, not Cape Hatteras, Cape Fear and Cape Lookout, but that is probably immaterial. The rainfall is the biggest problem that we're going to have with the system. The winds are relatively weak away from the core of the hurricane force winds. Seas are only about 15 feet. Now, here's the upper level flow. I'm going to put a couple features on here and you can see what's going on. We expect the system to go on up toward the northeast, and you can see the upper level flow is all out of the southwest, and so there's virtually no way, unless the system were to weaken very, very quickly, for the system to go to the northwest. It's going to definitely go north and or northeast, and we think northeast is a good track. As it gets up in toward, after it goes past the Carolinas, up off the New England area, we think it's going to be moving so fast that as it merges with the mid-latitude trough area up in this area here, that you're going to have some brisk winds, but you're not going to have any onshore flow from it, or not much onshore flow, and the rain would be relatively minimal as it stays offshore. So we're thinking that for the New England area, breezy, potential rain, but you need to monitor rather carefully because extended forecasts are often erroneous. Now, looking at the satellite imagery here, you don't see all the big red cold cloud tops we did before, but keep in mind there's a tremendous amount of warm rain. That means rain that's not associated directly with ice crystal formation, and you can see the system there moving off to the north, and we do have quite a bit of rain to the north of the system impacting the coastline, and that's going to accumulate. Most of it will accumulate near the coast. Now let's get back to Bill.
All right, Dr. Steve Lyons, thank you very much. Just to recap, the 8 o'clock advisory, the hurricane now at 31.2 north and 79.9 west, and that makes it about 115 miles to the south of Charleston. But to reiterate what Steve said, it will likely increase its forward speed and hopefully start veering more off towards the northeast later on today. Well,